Suppose the figure are reversed, so that means company must have suffered loss to the
Losses.
fine. But in reality, this is not the profit. The profit would have been either more or less. We need to look at several other items also, which we have not considered so far. Which we have not considered. Fixed assets we have considered, current assets we have considered, current liabilities we have considered, long-term liabilities we have considered. So the items which are remaining other than these four broad groups are to be taken into account, and that we shall do in this head or under this heading, that is calculation of profit or loss from business operations. If you look at this balance sheet once again at page number 87, look at the asset side, start from the last. Suppose it is bank. So what is it?
Current asset.
You have taken into account sundry debtors, you have taken into account stock, you have taken into account furniture, you have taken machinery, you have taken land and building, you have taken. Suppose this balance sheet is given to us for preparation of funds flow statement. So right side of balance sheet has been taken care of. We have understood what is to be done with these. Come to the liability side. Proposed dividend. What is this?
So dividend proposed but not paid.
Dividend declared, proposed but not paid. In terms of accounting language, if I ask you to classify, where would you classify this? Asset, capital, liability, expense, or revenue?
So liability.
Which liability? Long-term or current? Long-term liability or short-term liability?
Short-term
The
liability.
short-term liability.
Do you think while calculating changes in net working capital, this should have been, suppose this is an illustration that we are doing. So do you think while calculating profit and loss, considering working capital, this should have been taken into account or not?
So should have
So
been.
it
So it
should
is a
have
part
been.
of current, like short-term current liability. So I think it should be taken part of
Okay.
it.
But while preparation of fund flow statement, remember, it will not. While preparation of fund flow statement, it will not be taken as a current liability. I'll explain you the reason. In real life, a proposed dividend is something which company has proposed today and tomorrow. When I say tomorrow, after 10 days, 15 days, 20 days, whatever number of days, company will pay it. So we are preparing fund flow statement. We are preparing a statement showing sources of funds and showing application of funds. Showing sources of funds and application of funds. So remember, what are we doing? We are not calculating ratios. We are doing an exercise on changes on movement of funds. Once again, look at this figure, proposed dividend 10,000. So proposed dividend on 1st January 1990 was at 10,000. Fine? Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What would have happened to this figure after 10, 20, 30 days? What would have happened? It would have been, definitely it would have been paid. So unless any other information is given which is contrary to what you have assumed, unless that information is given, the conclusion that we can very fairly, very confidently arrive at is that during the year, this 10,000 would have been paid as a dividend to shareholders, and hence it would have amounted to as application of funds. Do you agree with this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So this 10,000 rupees will simply be taken as application of funds. Now, what will be done with the another 12,000? Stay on for a minute. Just wait for a few minutes. Suppose there is another item given above proposed dividend. What is provision for taxes? So what is this provision for taxes? Ordinarily, it is also a current liability. But in the preparation of fund flow statement, it is not. Unless anything is given, otherwise, the only assumption that we can make that we made a provision for taxes 9,800, and during the year, these taxes would have been paid. So this 9,800 will also be considered as As
Application.
an application.
Application.
Application of fund. Good. Now we come to the two items which are given, same thing which is given in the current year. Proposed dividend of 12,000. What is it? Source or application, or what is this? It is your provision. It is your provision. You have proposed that you will pay this dividend. You have not paid. All these items which are a provision in the current year or something which we have made a book entry only, they are added back to the calculation of profit. Why they are added back? Because there has been actually no outflow of money. When you say on 31st December, just remember I am talking of 31st December. When you say proposed taxes, is money going out anywhere?
No, sir.
No, sir.
It
No,
will
sir.
go out. It will go out after 31st December. As on date, it has not gone out. Similarly, when we say provision for taxes, so there is no outflow of money, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
For this reason, profit figures differ with availability of cash or availability of funds with us. Look at this statement. It will take a bit time. Just 1 second. Suppose this is the profit loss account a company has prepared. You have sales of 1 lakh, other income of 20,000. Expenses are given like you can read, and net profit is 20. Okay. And anything you wish to know about these 4 or 5 lines till we reach a figure of net profit of 20? You want to know anything, or 20,000 is clear to you? Get 20,000 is the profit company has made. Agreed?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Now listen to the question and answer it. Suppose this company is dealing everything entirely on cash. Just theoretically assume. I'll come back to I'll reach the conclusion gradually. Suppose this company is dealing everything in cash. Purchases are cash, sales for cash, income for cash, everything is for cash. How much cash will it have in its cash box? 20,000 or more or less than 20,000?
So more than 20,000.
Yes, sir.
Because
More than.
Because depreciation and goodwill are not
They will
provided
be
in
added.
cash.
good
Yes.
depreciation, or you can say that depreciation did not result in any outflow of cash. Goodwill written off also did not result in any outflow of cash. So if you count the cash in cash box, how much will that be?
So more than 20,000.
How much
50,000.
So
will that be?
50,000.
50,000.
It is straight away 50,000.
50,000.
It is straight away 50,000. All right. Now look at the remaining items. Company has paid taxes of rupees 8,000. Company has paid dividend of rupees 7,000, and company has transferred 5,000 to reserve. After having done so, how much cash will be available with the company?
So 35,000.
35,000, because
So because taxes and equity dividend are
out
to
of
be
50,
paid in
you are right,
cash.
out of 50, 15,000 was actual outflow, that is taxes and equity dividend. And this 5,000 that you transfer to reserve, it will once again remain in the company. There is no application of fund. Do you agree with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Having
sir.
understood, having understood this part, can we say that in balance sheet and in profit loss account, there are some items, not 1, 2, there can be a dozen items which we record because accounting rules say us so. Accounting rules ask us to record them in that particular fashion, but those recording does not result in any application or source of fund. In order to know the real profitability, we add back those items. We add back those items, or if required, we reduce those items. Either we add or we subtract. Only then we get the real profitability or the correct picture of the profitability in the company. So these items are known as non-cash items. What are they known as?
Non-cash items.
Non-cash, that means cash is not involved. In depreciation, cash is not involved. In goodwill written off, cash is not involved. By the way, you all are clear about the term that I have written here, goodwill written off.
No, sir.
You should have asked me. Okay. When one company, you may recall that I asked you an exercise wherein you collected data of different companies having goodwill or having no goodwill,
Yes, sir.
right? If you look at that data of 2 years, you would notice that by and large, first year figure will be more than second year figure. 1990, 20,000, and 1991, 15,000, 12,000, anything which is less than 20,000. So by and large, in majority of the cases, second year figure less than the first year figure. So difference between these two figures is something that you call as goodwill written off. That means, एक second, just one second, somebody's okay. That means company bought this goodwill for cash or for any consideration. If the entire amount of goodwill that company bought is shown as an expense in profit and loss account, if it is shown, entire amount is shown as an expense in the profit loss account, then that year's profit loss account may result in losses. Therefore, company does not include the total value of building in the particular year in which it bought, but it gradually reduces it year after year. After 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, it spreads it over a period of some years, 5, 6, 10, 15 years. Each year, part of it is reduced. This, in accounting terminology, you can call as goodwill written off. And the process of writing off any such item is known as
Amortization.
correct, is known as amortization. So you will notice that goodwill in the first year will be more, goodwill in second year will be less. Difference between the two will be called as amortization or amortized amount or goodwill amount written off. Because there was no outflow of cash, therefore it will be added back. Like this, there can be some more items which which we need to adjust. Go to page number 89. Page number 89. Look at the, now you are at page number 89.
Yes, sir.
Look at,
Yes, sir.
yes, look at first balance sheet and last word, last line. What is that? Discount on
Debentures.
debentures.
Yes.
So debentures would have been issued at a discount. A debenture on which 10 rupees is printed would have been sold at rupees 8 or 9 or 7, anything which is less than the face value, that you call as a discount, issue and discount. Here also, the entire discount which company gave in the year in which these debentures were issued, the entire amount is not recorded in the profit loss account as a loss. This discount or this amount is also spread over a period of 2, 3, 4, 5 years to give a better picture or realistic picture of the accounts. So yearly, this amount is written off. Again, 10,000 and 5,000. So 5,000 would not have resulted in any outflow. It will be added back. Come to the liability side. Look at the second last item. What is that?
Reserve and
Reserves and
surplus.
surplus.
It was 110. Now it is 270. What is the inference?
So reserves are increased.
Reserve have increased.
Okay, reserves are increased. बिल्कुल ठीक है. रिजर्व कैसे इंक्रीज होते हैं? जब आप प्रॉफिट लॉस अकाउंट से उसमें पैसा ट्रांसफर करते हैं तभी तो होते हैं.
Yes, sir.
That means your profit, you would have earned some amount of profit, out of which 1,60,000 were transferred to reserve. So to know the real profitability, this 1,60,000 will be added back to the calculation of profit, because there was no outflow. It was only a book entry. I will give you a detailed illustration, but here taking up individual figures was to give you an idea that in case of fund flow statement, we really need to know what were the items which resulted in outflow of money and what were the items which resulted in inflow of money and what were the items that were simply a book entry. Nothing either came in or went out. Therefore, all those items which are like this, that there is no outflow, there is no inflow, so those are all adjusted in the profit and loss account. How do we prepare that adjusted profit and loss account? This part I'll explain to you now. Before I do that, if you have any question on these individual items that I have explained to you, you can ask me clarification. Okay. If not, now let me go back to the place where I was. Calculation of profit loss account from business operation. This is a kind of repetition. For example, if I say, assume the balance in profit loss account in the previous year was 80,000. In the current year, it is 1,10,000. So what does this 30,000 indicate?
Profit.
Profit of 30,000.
Profit indicate
Company made a profit of rupees 30,000.
30,000.
Correct. Suppose several additional information are available, and one of the information is that during the year company charged depreciation on all the assets for rupees 20,000. Will it impact your figure of profit or not?
Yes, sir, it will.
So what do we do?
Add कर देंगे sir.
We add, correct, we add this 30,000 to another 30,000. Alternatively, mathematically, what you can do, closing balance minus opening balance will be your profit. So in the closing balance, you will add all those items which were written just for the sake of writing and subtract the closing balance. You will get the, opening balance, you will get the answer. So added back, correct. Now look at the more items. Example of non-cash expenses. So depreciation, you have got it?
Yes, sir.
So depreciation will be added back. Capital gain or capital loss. Capital gain is something which you gain on those items, on sale of those items which are not your regular business. Suppose a company is into the business of buying vehicles and selling vehicles. If it sells computers, old computer it sold and there was some gain on it, so it will be known as capital gain. It sells some old laptop and there was a loss, it will be known as capital loss. So capital gain will be added because capital gain was not a real gain, you get no money. Similarly, capital loss will be added. Now we come to transfer to reserve. If funds have been transferred to reserve, it will be added back. It is also possible that funds might have been transferred from reserve. What will be the situation? If you look at page number 89 and reverse these amounts, 270 in on 31st December 88 and 1110 on 31st December 89. It will be the case of transfer from reserve. If your balance of reserve increases, so it means you have transferred from the profit. And if your balance decreases, then it is just the opposite case. Now, apart from these three, there are some other items also which are non-cash expenses. Preliminary expenses. Do you recall that I explained to you the meaning of preliminary expenses long ago? What are these expenses? What are preliminary expenses? Can you recall?
So the expenses which are incurred at the time of incorporation, like before the...
You're right, the expenses which are incurred at the time of operation. So why do we write them off over a period of 5-6 years? We write them over a period of 5-6 years because if all the expenses are recorded in the same year, the first year balance sheet will show a very gloomy picture, will show a very odd picture. There will be losses. Therefore, they are spread over a period of few years, and we record them, not real amounts, but we continue to, this we continue to show them at a particular figure and then reduce it or write it off gradually. So because there will be no outflow, therefore these will be added back. Discount on issue of shares, I have just now explained to you, either share or debenture, same thing. Goodwill, I have explained to you. Other expenses not written off. There can be some other expenses also which will fall in this category. All these will be added back, and then only we will arrive at the correct figure of profit. That will be our either inflow or outflow, application or source. So last item, that is changes in profit and loss account, or the funds from profit and loss account, or application from profit loss account, I have explained. To repeat, what do? We start with the closing balance. I mean, explained it through slide also just now. We start with the closing balance, add back everything which did not result in any outflow, and subtract the opening balance. We get real profitability. And if it is positive, it will be your source. It will be negative, it will be your application. So we will have several applications, several sources. If you add all of them, your sources will be equal to your applications. Now let us see how I have explained it in this 1 second. Suppose this is an illustration. This is an example. Individual fixed assets, individual liabilities, I have explained. So I'll perhaps not spend more time here. I'll spend more time on calculation or illustration of funds from business operations. Look at the asset side. You know how will you treat the building? That is known to you. What will you do? Is that fine?
Sir.
How about machinery that you can do? You can prepare account of machinery or not? It was explained to you here. Look at this one. Isn't it? Was it not that explained here?
Yes, sir.
In
Yes, sir.
the same way, this illustration can be attempted with these figures. The building you can do, machinery you can do, furniture you can do. What will you do with cash?
Current assets.
Current asset. Bank,
Current assets.
Current assets.
debtors,
Current assets.
stock,
Current.
discount on issue of shares,
Profit and loss.
profit and loss, preliminary expenses.
Profit and loss.
Okay, so these two items just recorded somewhere, noted somewhere. These two items are the one for which currently our discussion is going on. These two items on the asset side of balance sheet. Come to liability side. Equities you can consider.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Debentures you can consider. For example, debentures are 40 and 25. What do we do with this 15,000? What is this 15,000 difference referring to?
Sir, application.
Okay, application. And why application? Because
So they are paid off.
we have paid back. We have paid back to the debenture holder. We have returned their money. What is this called in accounting language?
Redemption of debentures.
Redemption of debentures. Correct. The redemption of debentures. Debentures have been redeemed. Is that okay? Now preferential
Yes.
capital. You can do. Now what will you do with reserve?
Profit and loss.
Profit and loss.
P&L.
Keep a note somewhere. Okay, this is the third item related to profit and loss. Profit loss account, again it is naturally related to profit loss. How about creditors?
So liability.
Current liability.
Current liability.
Current
Bank
liability.
overdraft.
So current liability.
Current liability.
Bills payable.
Current liability.
Current liability.
Current liability. Now suppose you wish to calculate, see, look at the profit loss account. How much profit company made in this year?
10,000.
10,000.
10,000.
But was profit really 10,000 or more or less?
So it is
More.
more profit.
Correct. More, because there are several items which did
Which
not
goes into
or
profit and
which
loss.
might not have certainly resulted into any inflow or outflow. Those items will be adjusted. So suppose the profit was 10,000. Now look at the figure which is written just above. You might have, this company certainly must have transferred 5,000 from the profit only. So you add back this 5,000. All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Instead of doing so, just pick up your pen and paper, write down whatever I'm saying. Closing balance of profit loss account 15,000. Right? Closing balance of profit loss account 15,000. Have you written?
Yes, sir.
Add, transfer it to reserve.
Can you repeat?
Okay, right? Closing balance of profit loss account 15,000. Closing balance of profit loss account 15,000. Add number 1, transfer to reserve 5,000. Transfer to reserve 5,000. You know why I am saying add transfer to reserve 5,000? Because your reserve was 10 last year, this year 15. So definitely you must have transferred it from current year's profit only. So to know the profitability, real profitability, it will be added back. So you have written the second line, add to.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now third line, add discount on issue of shares written off. Add discount on issue of shares written off. What figure will you write?
5,000.
5,000. Because it was 15, now it is 10. So 5 you have written off. Third line, once again write, add preliminary expenses written off. Add preliminary expenses written off. How much figure will you write?
5,000.
5,000. So what will be the gross total now? 15,000 plus 5 plus
25,000.
5 plus 5. How much?
25,000.
25,000.
Sir,
30,000.
30.
30,000.
Hmm?
30,000.
30,000.
30,000.
Okay.
30,000.
Write gross total 30,000 minus
Closing balance.
opening balance.
Opening balance.
Minus opening balance. How much was it?
5,000.
5,000. What was the opening balance in profit loss account?
5,000.
5,000.
5,000.
What is the resultant figure?
25,000.
25,000.
Real profit.
Write down the
25,000.
before this 25,000. Write profit from business operation. Profit from business operations. What is this profit? Source or application?
Source.
Source, sir.
It is your source. Definitely it is your source. So looking at the balance sheet, you apparently see that the profit in the current year was only 10,000, isn't it? Because difference between two profit figures. But in reality, how much was the profit?
25,000.
25. 25, not 10.
10.
Okay. So real inflow would have been 25, not 10.
10.
Okay. Now you have got several other figures which I did not explain to you now because I had explained to you these figures yesterday and today. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now your job is to work out the other figures. To work out the other figures and find out what are the various sources of funds from building machinery, furniture, etc., etc. What are other application of funds from liability side or sources of funds? What are your sources or application of funds from working capital? Profit and loss account I have worked out. At the end of day, both sides should be equal. Can you do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, can you please repeat?
Okay.
Sorry, sir.
There are, I'm repeating it again in detail. In the balance sheet, broadly, there are 5 types of items. Fixed assets, current assets. Long-term liabilities, short-term liabilities. You know the treatment to be accorded to all these four categories of items?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Just to repeat, fixed assets, say machinery, 30,000, 40,000. What is the conclusion?
Application.
10,000 application. But you have to stop here a bit, because straight away there will not be 10,000 application,
So
because look at the
depreciation.
last item. Fixed assets are subject to 10% depreciation.
Depreciation.
So you will incorporate 10% and then only you will arrive at the correct answer. To incorporate and then you see what happens with the machinery. So you can do
So,
with fixed assets.
so
Similarly,
in this case, we will write down the written down value, no, sir?
written down value will be 27 and your current balance is 40. So you have bought building for 13,000, not for, sorry, machinery for 13,000 and not for 10.
Okay, sir.
So 13 will be your application in case of machinery. In case of building, 32 will be your application. In case of furniture, how much will be your source?
8,000.
8,000, correct.
8,000.
So you are on your fingertips calculating sources and application. Similarly, come to the long-term liability side. 25 will be your source from equity. 15 will be your application because of redemption of debentures. 10 will be your source because of issuance of preferentials. Leave reserve, profit loss, come to creditors, bank overdraft, bill payables. What all these are?
So liabilities,
Current liability.
current liabilities,
So you will take care of them while calculating changes in
Level.
Liabilities.
Working capital.
net working
Capital.
net working
net
capital.
working capital. So all the items in the balance sheet I have explained to you. Each item is resulting in some inflow or in some outflow. So when you calculate all inflows and outflows, all sources and application, you must get both sides equal. So one part I have explained to you, remaining four part I have explained to you, part of them today, part of them yesterday. Using this figure, this balance sheet which is available on your screen, you take a photo of this and calculate or prepare a funds flow statement. On one side you write application, on another side you write source. So what will you do? You will write, let us say you have given a table, you have prepared a table with the two columns. One side, any side, left hand, right hand, doesn't matter. There is no debit credit here. On one side you have written sources, on another side you have written application. Once you have done so, whichever are applications, record them. Below that, whichever are assets, record them. Below that, and total both the columns, you should get both sides equal. Wish to know anything here? Or you can attempt it on your own.
So we can do it.
Do it. Good. Make a note. Okay, what is the total of your funds flow statement? What are total sources? What are total applications? Then individually also you make a note. I'll ask you tomorrow in the class. So before I take up next item, let me know if you have any question up to this stage.
No.
25,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now look at this. Fixed assets by 10%. What does it mean? That on all these assets, 20, 30 and again 20, 70,000, you would have charged 7,000 rupees as depreciation, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So what is this depreciation? Again, it is a non-cash expense. This also would have been added. And if you add, your answer will not be 25, but your answer will be
More than 25.
32.
32.
32.
So factor in this also, and then prepare the fund flow statement. Now, before I proceed or take up the next thing, ask me if there are questions. Okay, you take a snapshot of this slide also. Read it carefully. All the things which I have mentioned here are clear here. All right.
So fictitious assets?
Fictitious assets are those which are not really assets, but they are recorded in the asset side to tally the balance sheet or because of the procedure or system that we are following. An example of fictitious asset is the discount on issue of shares. So discount that you offer on a share, it is a loss. But why are we recording on the asset side? Because there are mathematically two ways. Either you record 10 as value of equity on the balance sheet side and minus 1 from there, write 9 in the inner column, or you write 10 there but write 1 on the asset side. Mathematically you will get 9. So these are recorded on the asset side of balance sheet. They are not your real asset. The word itself says what is fictitious, which is not real.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other question? Okay, no more questions. So try to prepare that. We will be meeting once again tomorrow. But before that, let me come to the extra test part. See, I don't mind taking test as many times as you want, but what do you want me to be? Somebody writing said I was absent in one of those classes, so I want to take another test. I missed that equation part, so I want to take another test. I did this, so I want to take another test. If out of 20 of you wish to take test at various point in time, so do you think that I'll be continuously conducting your tests only? See, how many opportunities can perhaps be given for, there were about 10, 11 types of assignment that were given to you. If you missed one, you missed it. Why you could not be punctual? If you are so careful in your marks, and you should be, if you are so what should you call, be interested in getting 100% score, that I'm sure you should be, then why don't you remain attentive? Why don't you remain punctual? You do not want to attend an assignment, at the same time you want marks also for that. When I said Calcutta Motors, if your parents do not allow you to go out, if you have some genuine problems, you can skip that assignment. I do not want to be blamed for that and later on filed an FIR against me that my son and daughter got COVID because he was sent to attending an assignment. Tell me honestly, all of you who missed this assignment in the name of one reason or the other, did you never go out of your home for those time period? Did you never attend went to any shop or mall or prayer room or somewhere? Were confined only to a room in isolation or quarantine? None. It's only because of assignment. There's a reason that parents are not allowing you to visit some what you call automobile workshop or somewhere. They are not allowing you to go out. Otherwise, for everything, Corona will be there if you go to take up an assignment, and it will not be there if you attend to a marriage. It's very strange, but anyway, legally, I cannot force you to take up any assignment which involves something which can invite troubles later. But do you think that, if others are earning after working hard, why should you earn without anything? So you can certainly take up that test, provided you conveyed me in advance. I am not taking up this assignment because of these reasons, which otherwise also I have explained to you the reasons. So you tell me in advance you are not able to take up this one, so I will find some alternate way. Otherwise, will it be a justice for those who earned 5 marks after putting a lot of efforts? And to you, they may be awarded like this only. No, it will not be a justice to those who did hard work. To equate, there has to be some way out. Of course, it is an additional work for me, but in order to justify, I have to do that additional work. So this is about the Calcutta Motors. Now, MHA, not more than 15, 16 of you are there in the class. How many of you are there in MHA class as on date? In all, how many of you are there in MHA regularly?
So 17.
17. Let us say 3 or 4 of you missed Calcutta Motors because your parents did not allow you. बाकी सारी चीजों के लिए आपको इजाजत थी, इसके लिए नहीं थी, इसलिए कि भाई इसमें कोरोना हो जाता आपको. तो let us say 21. So why should the test be conducted for 60 people? I mean, I thought as if something is being distributed free of cost and you are all forming a queue. Give me also. I mean, I don't mind, I can give you, but there'll be strict terms and conditions for that if you want to take up another. And by the way, why should it happen? How many tests should be conducted till such time you score perfect 100? Should I continue conducting tests after test till such time everybody scores perfect A plus 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 plus? An opportunity is given to you. You use that opportunity. You appear in the test, and whatever score you get, you get. That's it. Or tell me anywhere in the world that people are conducting tests after test, maybe in our own department, just to make sure that you get 100%. So expecting something which is really not, which really you should not expect. You are all matured enough. You are all 20 plus. You have appeared in several tests. You have come this far in your classes. To expect something which is reasonable. Multiple choice, objective type, everybody can test. Not 100,000 people can take test. But should you or should I, by the way? So let me make it clear. Only those who join classes because of their, not because of their fault. If the university offered them late admission, it is, I mean, at the university level, and we are part of the university, therefore we will make some provision for them. And otherwise, if you were regular in, I mean, if you joined, I'm not talking about regular, it is your headache, you be or you not be. You want to be regular, you be regular. If you do not want, it is your choice. If you miss the test, if you scored less for any reason, is your outlook. So I'll share the link. I'll find a way out. How should it be conducted? So those of you who joined late because the university offered you late admission, I'll reconfirm on official records also, take data from you also, will write this test. And if the people who by mistake or deliberately or innocently or whichever way have appeared in that test also, I'll not grade them. Or if you are that interested in taking the test, you will have different rules. I'll take your test. There will be 1:1 negative marking. And whatever scores you have got so far, either that score or second time which you get, whichever is lower will be considered. Think on it and let me know if you are still ready to take the test. I am prepared to take it. We'll see you tomorrow at the same time. If you have any questions, you can ask me before you leave.
Sir, I want to ask one question.
Sure.
Sir, I joined late because of late upgradation process on 29 January. So you conducted the classes with
Just one second, Shama. Before that, were you involved in any course in the university, in main campus?
No, sir.
No. Fine.
Sir.
Then you are very much entitled, because upgradation did not happen because of you. So there is no fault of yours.
Excuse me, sir. Sir,
Yes.
same is the case for the NRI students.
Okay. What? See, up to your date of admission, how many assignments were conducted?
So my classes started from 13th. So before that, 3 assignments were conducted, like weekly report
How
one.
many?
So 3 weekly report 1, weekly report 2, and recall on day 3.
So you were expected to have submitted all those 3?
So, but I didn't attend the classes of that. I missed
Hmm?
7 classes. I missed these first 7 classes. So weekly report
See,
1 and weekly report 2.
Shazib, that is what I am saying. If you missed classes on your own,
No, sir. I got admission on 13th
no, if
January.
if you got admission on 13 and you missed those classes, for those 3 classes, something can be done.
Yes, sir. I was just asking that only. Rest, I was attentive and I submitted
Yes,
all.
yes. If somebody does not attend the classes, then it is his outlook. You need to join another class, so please leave it. What time your second class starts?
8:40.
40.
8:40.
Friday.
Each time on Friday it happens. Why don't you, let me know? Why don't you alert me? I continue because it's 50 set in this mind. Anyway, you leave the class immediately and